This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 9 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by Index Fund Advisors, IFA.com. Horsemanship Radio is a part of the family of Horse Radio Network. Today, we have some icons in the horse industry where youth is concerned, both horse and human. We welcome some special guests from Sweden and New Zealand who are making a difference for horses and horsemanship as lifelong students of horse behavior. Thank you for supporting our sponsors to make this show possible. This is Debbie Laux, and you're listening to Horsemanship Radio. Welcome back, everyone. Horsemanship Radio airs the 15th and the 30th of the month. I have my producer, Glenn the Geek, with me. Hi, Glenn.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Terrific. Now, I'll tell you what, we've been getting some emails and things from people who are enjoying the show, and I just wanted to say right at the top of the show that we really do like that. If you are enjoying listening to Debbie and you like Horsemanship Radio, drop us an email and let us know if there's something that you would like to hear on Horsemanship Radio or a specific guest you would like to hear. We want to know about it.
We do. That'd be great. I would love to not be the only one thinking about that. I would love to hear what they want to hear. And I've had so much fun talking to different people, but we certainly can expand the different kinds of disciplines and horsemanship behavioral issues that we get into here. So please do give us feedback. And Glenn, I hear you're going off to a trade show here. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, we have a trade show this weekend. It's twice a year. It's the American Equestrian Trade Association. It's the wholesaler retail trade show, so the retailers go there to see new stuff that's coming out and to buy things. So it's a pretty large show. It's in Philadelphia over the weekend with all the snow and cold. So it's a real tough one for us because we have to leave sunny Ocala to go to Philadelphia in the middle of winter.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts. You're actually right. Are you going to buy anything there? Do you have something to look forward to buy there or anything?
Actually, they bring us in at every one of these to cover the show and to highlight new products, and we do our live show, Horses in the Morning, from there on Monday morning. So it's we're working the whole time, but they do have cash and carry on Monday, so Jennifer does take advantage of that.
Oh, good girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer will have to tell us about her accomplishments when she comes back. And we'd like to hear more about how you dress for these things when you have to leave Ocala. It must be hard to put anything on but boots. Mm-hmm.
You kind of we have to dig the winter stuff out. We have to find it and then pack it. Yeah, because we really haven't used it at this point. So it's our little taste of snow every year.
Well, I guess you didn't get it at Christmas, so you're going to get it now.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right. And look who's talking, you out there in warm California.
Oh, shh. Okay, that's true. We are having a heat wave. Well, I'm excited today about a couple of the guests that we have coming on. We've got some international flavor, and I hope everybody, they have to hunker down to their mics really carefully and listen to these accents. Ann Lindberg in Sweden, she speaks great English. I'm not worried about her a bit. She's writing a book both in English and Swedish. So she will be very lucid and amazing in her horse behavior knowledge and the years and years she goes back with natural horsemanship and working with horses since she was a child and becoming one of the early instructors in Monty Roberts concepts and Join Up, and she mentors a lot of kids out there too. And then you're going to hear an amazing story from Lee Wills in New Zealand, who has, together with one of Monty Roberts' other instructors, both of those being instructors, have put together for the last decade more than a tremendous program for thoroughbred babies, and they take them from birth all the way to their first jobs and how they work with the mental and physical aspects of bringing those babies up. So our next guest has devoted her life to horses everywhere, but was born and raised and lives in Sweden. After this.
Hi, I'm Mark Hebner, president of Index Fund Advisors and proud owner of Monty Roberts' Willing Partners graduate, He's a Sugar Bear. You know, investment portfolios are a lot like horses. You need to find one that best suits you, your temperament, and your stage of life. Some people might like an energetic horse and an aggressive investment portfolio, while others are more comfortable with a gentle ride and a more conservative investment portfolio. The trick is to find the one that's right for you. That's what Index Fund Advisors is all about, matching people with portfolios, risk-appropriate, low-cost, and globally diversified investment portfolios. You can find the right portfolio for you by taking the Risk Capacity Survey at IFA.com. That's IFA as in Index Fund Advisors. Or you can call us toll-free at 888-643-3133. That's 888-643-3133.
Ann Lindberg is one of Sweden's leading opinion builders in equine behavior and a longtime Monty Roberts certified instructor. Ann helps educate horse owners and equine entrepreneurs who seek a deeper understanding of their horses. Ann's worked with a variety of horses, from the BLM Mustangs in Nevada to tourism in Mallorca, Spain. And she's writing a book right now about experiences and about her horsemanship. She is writing this both in English and Swedish, so we'll be able to get to learn a little bit more from her. And it's really about building relationships in the equine industry. Welcome, Ann Lindberg. Thanks for coming on, Ann.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie. This is a privilege, and I'm honored to be on an American radio. That's so fun, and I've heard, well, we will make sure that the rest of the world will hear us as well, I understand.
That's right. This is Internet, Brave New World. We're going to be all over it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I want to share you with a lot of people that tune in to Horsemanship Radio, because you're one of those in the Scandinavian area that is a real thought leader in the industry. And I love how you're mentoring so much youth up there and that you're studying equine behavior. Tell us a little bit about what your day looks like.
Oh, my day is just filled with joy, of course. And a lot of learning and teaching. But I love your topics today, and especially with the young people, because to me, I'm only 46, so I'm not that old. But seeing the young people and understanding how extremely influenced they are by the industry, and they have their role models, and it's often today the top riders, and they see only, like we say, the cream of the top and the good stuff. But the youth and the young people, they are the future for the rest of the horses in the world. So to me, the children are precious. And the young girls and boys that are out there that love the horses, they need good role models. And I'm doing my part of it, I hope.
Yes, you are. We introduced you as having experience with horses all over the world. Have you worked with some young people that are doing things in your area that are making a difference as well?
Oh, definitely. First off, the funny thing is that wherever you go, you will always find a little girl or a little boy standing, by the paddock or the pastures. And that fascinates me, because I was one of those girls that was just standing there and just admiring the horses. What I do like is that children, they don't have any agenda, and when you just give them that opportunity to smile and start to ask questions, it is like, it's so easy for them to understand, when you have that. On my courses, I actually have, we have something that we call parent and pony camps. And because we kind of, in a nice and good way, demand that the parents are involved as well with the love that the children have with the ponies. And it's just a thrill to have, both the parents and the children there. And we can, give some horsemanship 101, because many parents in Sweden, they don't have the experience or the knowledge about a horse. Today, anybody can buy a pony or a horse. And what it's based on is actually just love for the horse from the child's point of view. So I was amazed this year when Monty Roberts was at Flyinge Stud Farm. First year Monty was in Sweden, it was in 2005. And there's a school, it's an equine school at the Flyinge Stud Farm here in the south of Sweden. And there was 3 students from the school in 2005. This year, or last year, was actually in April 2013. There was 192 registered students at Flyinge, and there was 192 people sitting in there and watching Monty. And like you say, with internet and the blogs, and you could say, what are we doing? We should stop complaining and keep, start working. So, that's one of my missions in life.
That's a great mission. That's a great growth, too, 2005.
Yeah,
so, and do you credit that with the internet and with the forums and blogs that are going on, or do you credit it with just a rising interest in horsemanship?
No, I don't know if there's a difference in countries, and traditions and whatever, but in the blogs and forums that we have in Sweden, it's huge. I mean, we even have 14 and 15-year-old girls with their own blogs, and they're actually making money on it, which I find very strange, but that's the way it is today. But I always try to, how do you say it in English, try to contact them or reach out to the people that really have values in what they say, because they become a good role model for other young people. And it's important. I feel it's important because today, as we say with internet, it's both good and bad. The young people, they want fast answers, they want quick fixes, and they want to move forward very, very fast. And I think before, just 20 years ago, when we read books, you came deeper into knowledge and, thoughts. You had more time to think and rational about your own thoughts. But today you want fast answers. So I think it's important to really reach out to those who have the ability to speak up and that have good values.
Yeah, how do you determine when you're looking at a blog or a forum? A lot of people are contributing on there, and they're really trying to be helpful, I'm sure. How do people discern?
Well, that's a good question, Debbie. First of all, I think, as I said, I'm not that 20-year-old girl anymore, but I have been 20-year-old, and I know how you spoke and how you thought and so on. I think it's important for us that wants to, lead the way a little or take the opportunity to have opinions and try to get a movement going on. We need to understand how children and young people talk and how they think. And try to meet them at their level and on their roads, instead of, complaining or saying, oh, you don't listen, and, that we have maybe from our parents. I think that's a good start. And I'm lucky. I have a lot of students of my own in our school here with the name of Monty Roberts. And we have decided to have a code of ethics, because we want to be part of the forums and, the blogs and Facebook and stuff. And we have come to an agreement, all of us. I have 35 students today. And we've come to that agreement that we shall never complain, never be harsh, always try to find, the empathy. And if we hear somebody say, oh, I need help because my horse is stupid, then we do not look at that person as it is a stupid person, or that they have a stupid horse either. We really want to, bring out the good and get to it in from another direction.
Very good. Very good. I know you've been wonderful on our Equus Online University. We have that forum. We put badges on all the instructors so that people recognize them as they go through the forum. And you're on there quite a lot, and I'm so glad. It's a very nice forum and very well directed, but it is great to have some weight in there from you, and I'm sure that all the blogs try to achieve that. I think we've been really fortunate to have really
thank
kind
you very much.
people.
I find, I learn a lot by reading on the Ecos Online University. I even try to, get ahead of my own students to make it right on the lessons. But also, it's so much easier to say, well, when you talk to, whether it's your students or horse owners that we call it, or on blogs and stuff, and you can say, there's great videos out there, and then you can get that, that little extra feedback, just so people start to think the right way. So it's great. It's absolutely super.
Mm-hmm. Good. So there's a lot going on out there. What is it about the little girl leaning on the fence, looking in the horses, that is just like you when you were little, that is so attracted to horses? And how can we foster that? How can we keep that going? Oh,
yeah. Isn't that one of the life mission that we all have? It's just pure love, and pure amazement of that beauty in the horse. The way they move and the way they look at you, and I think also the way horses view the world, when they're out there in the pasture. It's one of those things that I'm going to bring out a lot in my book, and that I always talk about in my demonstrations. That we need to find a way to never forget that little moment that you remember when you look, at the horse. And I find it difficult today in the world, that in the society that we live in. There's a lot of things happening in the world. And but also, even though it could be rebellion and all that, it is, people are actually fighting for the kindness today, I think, or I feel that, especially here in Europe. And I don't think it's that difficult to bring it out in the horse world, actually, to be honest with you. The other side of it, unfortunately, is that we see a lot of trauma going on in England and Ireland, especially with horses. Horses are dumped alongside the roads. Souls are killed. That brings, even though it's the toughest thing and you cry every time you see it on the internet, it still brings out that little fighting spirit in you with, the love for the horse. And we need to hold on to that really, really hard, and become better and better to express it one way or another.
Yeah. So you're saying that actually can bring out the compassion and gets us shaken from our busy world. Very good.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's a nice sentiment. So parents, I know, are looking for something that the horses bring out in their children, not only responsibility, and I guess we've mentioned love and language. How is it that a parent can, besides go to your courses and send their kids to your courses, what would a parent, if you're in the U.S. right now, what would you recommend a parent do to begin this journey to get their kids involved with horses?
Well, as I said, that little tip that I have and that I will bring out in my book, when you have that child, if you're a parent and you see you have a lot of love for your child, right, and you want to fill that child's world with love, and then you need to look at your child and see how they view that horse that they have in front of them, and that's what it's all about. It's about, of course, we want to pamper our children. And as you said, it's compassion and so forth. But you also learn that responsibility. You, as a grown-up person, will ask the child to actually take care of this beautiful horse. But you, as a grown-up, needs to be there and actually take on the responsibility to want to learn as much as you can about horses, so that you can support your child in that love and that responsibility that they have with the horse. I see many parents in Sweden, it's the other children. They have a horse. Mom, I want a horse. Well, I don't have the time. If I, buy a horse to my daughter, then she can take care of the horse, and then I know that she's in the stable and she's not out, at town running around. It's not easy for parents today, but it's still our responsibility as grown-ups.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, we will have to have you back. I'd like to hear more, a tip from you, maybe can we get a little preview of your book, maybe a tip from your book?
Absolutely.
Is that right? Great. Thank you, Ann Lindberg, for joining us today for a quick talk about the state of horsemanship in Sweden. Thank you for all you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Our next guest hails all the way down under from New Zealand. After this.
Hi, I'm Monty Roberts, and I'm dedicated to training horses without pain. You can learn to do it too on my Equus Online University. Western, English, the beginner, or the advanced rider, it doesn't matter. You can connect with other students online too, on our forum, and there's a new lesson every week. It's a lifetime of learning for you on my Equus Online University at montyroberts.com.
Lee Wills, one of the first instructors in Monty Roberts Concepts, has helped write the curriculum for his school at Flagazep Farms. Lee returned to New Zealand in 2000 and set up Equus Education in New Zealand, and a limited organization, they call those businesses limiteds, to organize tours and teach for Monty in her native land. Her students have progressed and taken Monty's teachings to a huge variety of chosen careers, from instructors at the zoo, they work with the elephants, and private horses, and world champions. They participate in the mounted games. She has students in almost every discipline. Alongside teaching, both Lee and Sally, also a Monty Roberts instructor, Sally King, have spent the past 10 years, more than that now, specializing in the education of over 2,000 thoroughbred foals, completing approximately 15,000 training sessions. They're graduates from Equus Education, that's the horses, process, become $1 million yearlings in the sales ring, and they've matured into winners of multiple Group 1 races. And they conduct equine behavior research, too, on a quest to continue sharing their knowledge that they have gained. Welcome, Lee Wills from New Zealand. Thanks for calling us from down under.
Thanks so much, Stevie. It's great to hear your voice.
Good to hear yours, too. What have you been up to down there? If foaling season is over, what did your day look like during that hectic time?
Well, it is a busy time for us. We're very lucky, and we are the only foal educators that are allowed on site at our thoroughbred studs in New Zealand. So we are very privileged to be able to drive around the beautiful stud farms with their lovely hedges and lovely black fencing and lots of post and rails and loads of mares and foals, and just go from paddock to paddock visiting.
Yeah, how many babies at any one time do you have there, Lee?
Well, it's really up to the studs. Some of the studs have us that we work with all their babies. So probably our biggest client would be a stud down in New Zealand called Windsor Park Stud, and we do their first 80 foals for them plus clients. So they're quite untouched, but we've found a really good time for us to work with them is between 3 and 6 weeks of age. So that's when we start with them. So they're out in the paddocks, and we just bring them in for their session and then put them back. So, and we do that individually with each one. Mm-hmm. And we found it kind of takes us between 6 and 9 sessions per foal for them to graduate, what we call graduate with us. Mm-hmm. So they are able to be approached and halted and led and have their feet picked up and everything, and all ready to kind of continue on. It's a real introduction for them because they are born into the thoroughbred racing industry here in New Zealand, and we're trying to kind of get them so that they can are able to cope with pressure, I suppose, is a lot of the things, because we can't really set them up for everything that's going to happen to them in racing. So it's really giving them a good introduction and trying to get them to understand how they can think through and work through processes.
Brilliant. That is such a cool, what a responsibility, but such a cool job. I'm sure there's a few people who would love to be able to work with babies all day. But I love how you and Sally have this system that you've broken down scientifically. How many years have you been working on this?
Well, Sally and I, we started, I first started, and then Sally's kind of a couple of years behind. But when I say behind, we've both been doing it. It's about 11 years now. We think it must be close to about 15,000 sessions we've done with these mares and foals, and we've learnt so much over the time that are specific to the foals, and we have got some research running as well, but we're kind of, Sally and I, really at the stage now where we would like to share a lot of this information, well, all of the information that we've learnt, because we never realised how specific it actually was to the foals. So we're trying to learn a little bit more about kind of anatomically or where they are in their development stages. We organised the system first, and we've really learnt it from the horses, and now what we're trying to do is go back and work out kind of why what we're doing works. So that's at the process where we are just writing it all down at the moment. So hence why Caroline Jennings is over here helping us as well, which is great. So that Sally and I, we've got someone who it's fresh to, so she can kind of ask us questions, because for Sally and I, it's very much what we've been doing for so many years now, even though it does keep evolving for us each season as well.
I love this. I think one of the important things that I've read and heard about what you're doing is that you go in and you acclimate the babies to humans, but then you let them go back and you let them bond and you let them be a part of the horse world first.
It's huge for us here in New Zealand. How we first started is there's a gentleman called Sir Patrick Hogan, who has been knighted for his services to racing here in New Zealand. And when I first started 11 years ago with the babies, he said to me, it was actually on his directive, and he asked that we wouldn't do anything to upset the mare and foal bond, and I didn't really realise at that time how important that was. So for us, the mare and foal bond, is even if we got a foal later on, if they are with the mare, if they've been brought up naturally with the mare and with other mares and foals, I think that is the most important thing. We can always put the training into them later, but I think if they kind of miss out on that socialisation with the other foals to play with, and they don't have a good bond with the mare, and even with the mares, we've kind of, if we see a lot with when we're trying to touch a foal for the first time, you'll see like little changes in the hair in the foal where the mare's been nibbling at the foal. So we find she does a lot, like even probably medically, like keeping the foals' bodies well. And so we find that we tend to try and scratch them where the mare's been scratched, and then we tend to start there. And we found that the mares really do help us now in the education of the foal, which is great. So there's lots of things that we have learnt about it, and it really has been from the horses.
Yeah. So you said that you try to equip these babies with some sort of ability to think before they get into a high-stress industry like the thoroughbred industry. Is that a confidence that you're putting in them around humans, or is that an intelligence training, something? What are you doing to help them with that world they're going into?
Yes, we would really like to understand a little bit more about it. We've seen a lot, and but I've just enrolled on another course because I'm trying to find out a little bit more. What we kind of believe at the moment is when we first, and it's maybe not just foals, it's even wild horses, like when we first go to do anything with them, they've got two options. They can either give us a learnt response or an instinctive response. Now, because the foals are new, there is no learnt response, so they only have an option to give us an instinctive response. And what we find is that if we keep putting pressure on them, so if they start to get upset and we allow them to kind of keep moving and get more worried about it, we find that they just continue and get more and more worried, as in they'll leave us faster and fly off the walls faster and things. So we've found that over the years, what we have found is better. And if I think of, like Monty and the work with Temple Grandin and things, is that what we've found is we're really better to shut down, as in physically stop that instinctive behaviour happening. So how we do it is we've got pads and we've got the mare in a really safe place, and we put the foal right up so it's touching the mare, plus it's all padded, and plus we've got us there. So we're all in a really close-knit kind of area. And what we've found is by physically shutting down the physical instinctive behaviour, it seems to settle them in their mind quicker. And I think maybe it is just because it's all linked in their mind, how they learn, like that physical, emotional, and mental is all together. So we have found that really works for us.
That's great. Okay. I'm listening to that. So Wendy, are you doing some science research behind this, or are you just documenting at this point?
No, we have, with Waikato University here in Windsor Park, we do have a research project running, and what we were trying to find out is, with the babies, is one, are there any behavioural traits that we see at that age, at 3 to 6 weeks of age, that then go on to be very good racehorses? For us, it's like, what makes a successful racehorse? Can we see anything there? And the other thing we were trying to work out is how long the foals are remembering, can give instant recall to a behaviour that we ask them. So when I was talking about a foal having either an instinctive response or a learnt response, so once we shut down that instinctive response and they start to learn these learnt responses, it's really about doing it kind of over, they learn it over and over and over until it becomes quite a strong neural pathway. But what we have found is if the horses get pushed beyond what they believe they are capable of, as in they get really upset about their environment and they go into like an instinctive reaction and they give you that instinctive response, they don't continue to stay in that learnt response. And for us, that, I suppose, is all about racing, as in they're going to be put in the gates and they are going to be in high-stress areas. And so it's about how long they can hold those learnt responses for. So for us, we have found there was some research done about doing something under 42 days and if it lasts longer in the foal's minds if it is done under 42 days. So it's all about us trying to understand, what we can do, because we're in a commercial environment, what we can do in the least amount of sessions that holds for them in those high-pressure situations. So initially it might be just a farrier comes in, that might be a big thing for those foals. So we ourselves are trying to learn more. We do see a lot, and for me is probably really learning the scientific side of it, so then we can pass that on so it's not as emotive as it can be for those horses at the moment as it is for some of them.
So, that reminds me of what Monty says quite often, which is adrenaline up, learning down. Adrenaline down, learning up,
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yes, very much. So for us, it's that same thing about that adrenaline, but for the little babies, what we find is probably like a child, when they go under pressure, is they're more likely to give you a large instinctive response, like they can't keep thinking through and stay kind of in a trained thought pattern, I suppose. So as soon as that adrenaline gets up, it's they definitely can't learn anymore, but it's seeing if they can hold what they existingly know, I suppose, for us.
So interesting. Well, that's great. Is it a lot of fun too, Lee? Are you having a great time?
Sally always says we have the best job in the world, and we of course think we do have the best job in the world. And for us, I suppose we're very fortunate because people are very trusting of us, as in we just pull up at the studs and go in and do our work. So most of the day, Sally and I are very much on our own doing our work. So it's great to be in that position that we are privileged enough just to be able to drive in places and go and deal with these gorgeous thoroughbreds. So we're very fortunate.
Really nice. Well, I love all the students that you have produced over the years. I don't want to make it sound like you're 150 or anything because you're very young, but you have produced...
Well, we're all getting older.
Oh, aren't we all? But you have produced some fantastic trainers that have gone on to work with elephants at the Auckland Zoo, right? Yeah.
Yes,
and you've produced people that have worked in the mounted games and competitors and all over all over the map. So you must have this the behavioral part of horsemanship and also animal training down. And we would love to have you back, Lee. I'd love to get a tip from you. I'd love our listeners to share more of you if you'll have us. You'll be back.
Oh, gosh, we'd love to.
Okay. All right. We'll have you back then. I appreciate you coming on today, and we're really excited to share with New Zealand and hope to get a lot of listeners listening in on this.
Yes, very much so.
This week, we have Ada Gates back for a training tip. Welcome back, Ada. We're so lucky to have you here for our tips on Horsemanship Radio. We'd love to hear more about some of the experience that you've had with the measuring of the hoof and some of the ways that you do that.
Well, thank you, Debbie. I'm thrilled to be back. And as I mentioned earlier, but I can repeat it again. My goal, and I think the goal for any farrier, is that the hoof is trimmed so that 50% of the foot is in front of the center and 50% is behind. So it's a perfect seesaw, a perfect fulcrum, a perfect balanced point of articulation. And we have the patent hoof ruler, which is on Monty's website. So, and that has all the instructions and reasons for doing this. But the one thing that sort of confirms that 50-50 is perfect is because the golden mean, or pi, perfectly applies to this balanced foot. And what I mean to say by that is if you apply the golden mean, which is 5,000 years of thought about perfect balance, you'll see it in paintings. The facade of the Parthenon is pi. From one knuckle to another knuckle on your hand is pi. The universe is in perfect balance, and the Greeks discovered that. And the foot is in perfect balance. So when you have 50-50 front and back, you have pi, and you can measure that, the tip of the frog to the front of the toe, and from the coronet down to the front of the toe is pi.
Interesting.
So it's a confirmation that the 50-50 works.
That's amazing.
5,000 years of thought is not wrong.
Couldn't be.
No, it isn't.
That's amazing. How many people...
Yeah.
Is this something you learned in when you were going to school for farrier work, or no?
Oh, God, no. I learned it too late.
Oh.
I learned how to balance the foot from the great Harry Patton, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just learned it because he trained me. But when I started measuring feet and I applied pi to it, it confirmed everything in my 35 years of experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, if people go on your website, harrypatton.com, can they learn a little bit more? Do you recommend farriers? What do they find there?
Well, they'll whether they go to your website or my website, they will find the ruler. I don't have too much information other than that what it does. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should add that to the website, but basically it's all in the kit. The kit's $35. I mean, I'm not here to sell anything, but the kit really sort of tells you everything.
I see. So people who find harrypatton.com, I know you sell farrier tools and equipment to the thoroughbred trainers, and you're near the racetrack there too.
No, I sell to all horseshoers.
All horseshoers.
I have more horseshoers that shoe regular horses on the outside than I do. I cover all farriers. We sell to all farriers who do all disciplines.
That's great. So do you mentor any kids coming up now, Ada?
Well, I do go out and tell the boys what to do.
Oh, good. Good for you.
And oddly enough, they listen. So,
yeah,
yes,
well, they couldn't resist you.
Available. I'm always available to help anybody.
Good. That's wonderful. You're a great horseman, you're a great farrier, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Debbie. God bless.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you all, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ada Gates.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Where in the world is Monty Roberts?
Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, two-legged and four-legged, in England, March 15, 21, and 29, Germany, April 4, 6, 8, 11, and 13, and in Solvang, May 31st. We're having another Night of Inspiration event with Monty and Pat at Flag Is Up Farms. The January one is sold out, and they're filling fast. So go to MontyRoberts.com for his calendar, and you can get more information there. You can write me at Debbie@MontyRoberts.com. Give us all kinds of feedback on the show. Or you can call our offices on the Pacific Coast at 805-688-6288.
Well, what a great show, Debbie. You know, that New Zealand accent, I love the New Zealand. It's my favorite accent of anybody's.
Is that your favorite? Wasn't she wonderful?
I can listen to New Zealand women all day. I don't care about the guys, but I can listen to the women all day. Definitely.
I love how she said mare. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. No, they have a terrific accent. I just love it. I like it. You know, it's one of my favorites. Maybe that's why I have so many New Zealand guests on my shows all the time.
Yeah, because there's only 3 people that live there. You know?
That's right. That's right. All right, very good. Well, for details about today's show, go to horsemanshipradio.com, where you can find links, photos, and more information about our guests. Every guest we've ever had on, if you want to find a link to their website and you've forgotten, just go to Horsemanship Radio. You can go back through all the different episodes, and we have links to everybody in there. And as always, we love your feedback, so please follow us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Monty Roberts, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Monty_Roberts. And of course, many thanks to our sponsors. None of our shows here on the Horse Radio Network would be possible without them, and they make it possible for Debbie to be here each and every week. So if you like Debbie, support the sponsors.
That's right.
That's right.
Be sure to visit the other great shows that Glenn has on the Horse Radio Network at www.horseradionetwork.com. And until next time, many happy horse hours.